Okay, we're gonna try something new, just starting from now. And no, we're not matching. So
We are under that shirt.
that's right. We're both human under this shirt.
Okay.
It's better than what I could have said. We'd both be topless under this shirt.
Okay.
That's gonna be left in the video now
You made it.
for all our fans and parents to see.
That was your joke.
It was. That's the joke I went with for today. So anyway, I feel like we need to have like "We're back" music, or I'm sorry, we haven't been around music playing.
Do that.
Definitely said we were gonna do these. I was like, maybe I was so optimistic back in December. Maybe in California, and then for sure after that, and we didn't do any of that. Sorry. Anyway, Brent and Sydney back with Coaches on the Couch episode I don't even know for season 2. Yeah, again, sorry we haven't been around. If I'm honest, January was a lot for me, and I just kind of let some things slip, this being one of them. But I did want to make at least 2 of these before we went off to conference next week. So to this one today, we'll do a preview one next week. And then I'm not exactly sure when we're going to do the conference one. My oldest is having surgery the day before we leave. Nothing bad. He's just getting his tonsils out. And one other thing in his throat neck area that's kind of pushing on his ear and making it hard for him to hear. So I will probably be at home the week after conference. I'm not sure when we're going to get our post-conference one done, but yeah, and then Sydney kind of aggravated her niece and needs some time to rest after conference. So, but I do promise that we will get a conference review one out there. So, yes. But yeah, let's talk about January, right? Like January was what a stretch, and we have seen many of you since the semester started, mostly because of the senior meet. It was so great to see so many of you there. But yeah, let's jump into it. So we met January 2nd. We flew to Ontario, beautiful Ontario, California. Kind of a joke, kind of serious. I mean, Ontario is nice, minus the rain. But yeah, we spent our winter training trip at Whittier, California, swimming at Whittier College, home of the poets, Sydney's alma mater.
Yep.
I still think y'all need to have something with the quill.
I would have been cool.
Like quills up or something.
Okay. Maybe not that.
I'll suggest it to Mike.
Okay, you do that.
But yeah, it was a good trip. It was a busy trip. We did compete twice when we were down there. Once against Redlands, once against Whittier and Co. So that was a double duel against Whittier and Co. in a very fun and unique format, kind of ultra sprint format. Yeah, it was good. It was different. Yeah. Obviously very different, having to adjust to Whittier, finding new places, figuring out food, have some thoughts on how we can make that better from a grocery perspective next year, if we go back to Whittier. But I mean, I enjoyed the trip as a whole, right? And we're almost a month away now. I enjoyed the trip as a whole. I enjoyed competing. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed being somewhere new. I mean, obviously having that many lanes at Whittier was super nice as well. But I think what we need to figure out as a staff and as the head coaches, do we need to shift the timing of winter training up? And I'm not saying that's going to happen for next year. I'm just saying these are kind of my thoughts, to give them a little bit more of a break between the end of winter training and that first dual meet that's that weekend before school starts and the start of school. I think that was one thing, and we met and talked about this. We swam George Fox the Saturday we got back from winter training, and granted, we had some issues with the pool, so we weren't in as much as I wanted it to be. But I was not happy coming out of that meet. We met as a team. We discussed why. I think the team was very open about their feelings, right? It was the third meet in 8 days. We weren't in the water, travel, thoughts of school. But if we're going to take the time to go to winter training, we have to compete. Mm-hmm. And so that means you're going to have that 3 and 8, or we're going to have to extend to be pre-New Year's Eve get together, right? Yeah. And so that's something we'll have to think about. But I don't know. What do you think of winter training as we'll wrap on your thoughts?
I thought it was a really good time, especially being in a new place and not really knowing. And it had been almost a full 10 years since I'd been back to Whittier. So it was new again for me, but it was really fun. Very surreal to watch the team I coach swim in the pool I swam in. But I think it worked out. I do agree that maybe there needs to be something with food, especially for our celiac and gluten-free people. Just seems as unfortunate as it is, a rather difficult thing to come across and find. And I agree that maybe we do have to consider pushing earlier before the new year, just with the timing of it all and being able to maybe spread out and not have 3 meets in 8 days, or we reframe what those look like and, change the idea of being worried and stressed. And, knock on wood, we don't have any more pool issues.
Yeah.
When we come back.
Yeah, and it's hard to say, like, would have been the ability to be in the pool the 2 days that we missed from travel event or to Fox, would that have maybe made a few things better? Hard to tell, right?
Yeah.
Like, based off the feedback from the team, the answer is inconclusive.
Yeah, and you play that game of what if.
Yeah, so, but that was winter training, and then the first conference meet back, George Fox. Again, it was a very interesting situation for us. I'm not trying to take anything away from Fox. They swam well at home, and we did not show up as well prepared as we probably should have. But we'll see it come conference. I still think our men can get them at the conference level. The women, the Fox women are vastly improved. That helps. Definitely, they have potential national qualifier on their roster that will boost them heavily. I think they're going to swim really well at conference. Yeah. I think they're gonna vault up the standings, and so that's great for them. Next, we welcomed the Wits at home that following week. Whitman on Friday, Whitworth on Saturday. Whitman was a good meet. Mm-hmm. I thought we swam really well. Yeah, they were coming off their winter training trip, but it was one of the better swim meets I think that we've had in a long time. Yeah. But again, coming out of the George Fox meet, we reassessed some things, talked about this new concept of offense and defense as it relates to swimming, and I thought they really did a good job of implementing it that weekend. We came out of both those meets with losses, which not unexpected looking at rosters and talent. Obviously, the Whitworth meet was very decisively a win for them, but that's how it's been for everybody against them this year in the conference. They are the power of the conference. So good to swim against them, though, to see like where we're at, where they're at. Just because they won didn't mean that we didn't swim well against them, though, right? Like I still thought we swam well against them. And then that took us into our senior meet the following Friday against Pacific, which we came out with wins on both sides. We'll come back to the senior meet here in a second. And then we finished up our dual meet schedule against Lewis and Clark that following Saturday, also with wins on both sides, which was a little surprising on the men's side. I definitely thought, granted they were sick, and we weren't as sick at the time, and so I think it'll be a little different next week for the men. But not to take nothing away from them, great win. Like the men swam well. Yeah. It was a back and forth meet. I'll be honest, I didn't know where the score was going to be. I was doing, back of the napkin math for about half the meet before I was like, I'm getting a little too distracted. Let's just focus on the meet. But yeah, it felt really back and forth on both sides, but it was definitely a good meet for us. I think it was a good way to end the conference dual meet season with Lewis and Clark. We were off last weekend and we're off this weekend, and then we go to conference the following week. So we'll talk more about conference next week after we get kind of the site sheet. We can look at everything and see what we're looking at. And then let's end the video with the senior meet. So senior meet was a couple Fridays ago at this point now. Again, so great to see so many of you there, both current families and alums. We had alums come, which was really cool. And so, it was a great way to celebrate our seniors. The first time we'd done a Friday night senior meet in a while. So we were lucky in that we were able to move the meet up to 5 o'clock versus 6 o'clock. And the meet ran fairly quickly as well. So we ended pretty quick, which I think helped. But yeah, it was a nice way to send off our seniors. Bummer for Ella that she wasn't able to compete for her reasons. She had a medical thing that came up for her, but still got to celebrate her. She was at the meet, which I was appreciative and grateful for that she was able to get that. And appreciative of the work the parents did to help make that night special. Both the underclass, or I'll just say the non-senior parents, as well as the senior parents. And so, it was good. It's always interesting to hear the stories that the team talks about for the seniors, but I do trust that they will do a good job, and they always do, and they did. Very heartfelt messages, very sweet, very from peer-to-peer perspective, it was good.
Yeah.
And, I will talk about the seniors at our banquet, which is why I don't do it at the senior meet, is to allow the team to have a little bit more of that peer-to-peer celebration, and then at the banquet we'll do the program celebration for them. But yeah, what about you? Any thoughts from the senior meet as those 7 finished their dual meet career with us that weekend?
Yeah, it was really great. That was the first class I've actually had like hands in recruiting, and so it was definitely like emotional. You're like, oh yeah, the little ones. I remember when they were seniors in high school, and several of them reminded me that I am supposed to speak at our banquet about them, and I had 100% forgotten about that until someone reminded me.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's about time you talk at the banquet.
I typically don't talk at the banquet, but because they were
not because she's not allowed to.
No. Brent says everything, so why repeat? It's oftentimes very much similar feelings, and so yeah, it was really great to see. Really great to have that support. A ton of people, friends and families, all came out. And so it was really exciting. Professors came,
Journey had a good turnout from professors and classmates. So that was cool. Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
it's always fun.
Yeah, for sure. So, I was gonna make some silly joke of you always remember your first class, but you do, right? Like I Aaron, my first assistant, unfortunately wasn't able to follow through with that. A few things, COVID being number one, and shutting the world down way back when. But I go back to my first fully recruited class, right? The class of 2020, and they made and still do make a pretty big impact on me. And so I think it'll be something that you'll definitely carry with you, right? That connection with this group, even beyond this year and stuff. And they're a good group. I mean, again, every graduating class makes their impact, but I do think there is something to be said about, there is, again, at least for me, there was and still is that something that initial connection with these are the group that when I first became a college coach, I really formed with, and then you continue on. And again, that's not to say that all the classes in between and ever since you don't have that relationship with, because I definitely I feel great relationships with all the classes. But I think there is just a little bit of something about they were that initial group. So it's a good group. But so that's where we'll leave you, right? Is we've wrapped the dual meet season. And we are now looking conference dead in the face. So conference is next week. I just submitted our entries about 40 minutes ago. And so we'll get the unofficial psych sheet, I think Friday. I believe it'll go live to families Saturday morning on the Northwest Conference website. So be on the lookout for that. And we'll be back next, probably Tuesday. We'll try to drop this video. About what is it looking like for us and what is our focus on that, and then we fly out Thursday morning, and the meet's Friday to Sunday, and barring a nationals qualification, that'll be season. Hopefully would love to extend our season another 5 weeks at that point, another 4 or 5 weeks at that point, but we'll see. I don't want to put that pressure on anybody by vocalizing something that is maybe my want versus their want. So we'll be back next week. Any final words, parting thoughts, words of wisdom?
Make choices.
And Sydney's going to leave you with that. I don't have a smart quip to make. Otherwise, I would have said it already. But anyway, thanks for being with us. We'll see you next week. And go Bearcats.
Go Bearcats.
See y'all.